so bright. I don't wanna lose that somebody.
What's up, guys? My name is Shrug, representing Fairweather, and welcome to another day's video. And I wanted to do one for every single map, but this is the first one that kind of this foggy roster have been focusing on because we really need to work on this particular map, and it's Hanamura. 2CP in general is kind of tricky when it comes to ult economy, but I'm going to do a video on that in full. But just so you know, 2CP maps are very heavily focused on trying to capture the point, saving as many ults as possible, and blowing them all when the enemy team has none. Now, it seems kind of simple at first, and it is relatively simple until you get down to the fact that you're playing against other people who know what you're going to do, and they know what they need to do to beat you. And the only thing you can do is, one, put your foot in the door with mechanics, and two, just have superior shot calling and superior game knowledge and game sense to make them waste one more ult than you waste. But a lot of the time in ladder, it doesn't go that way. A lot of the time, it's just a complete landslide their direction or your direction. You're not going to have many close games at all tiers. But the thing I wanted to focus on today is Hanamura, a really important map that I think a lot of people overlook and a lot of people don't really know how to play. The entrance is very easy to get into. You have a flanker top left, or you can go through main, but most of the time a dive is really effective. Basically, you might want a tracer to go around, scout out for the enemy, and look for an easy target. Usually it's a Mei, or you don't really want to attack the Ana or anything because you're just going to get collapsed upon and get isolated. A Mei is a very easy target because she's middle ground, she's mid-ranged, and you're going to be able to kill her quickly, and she poses a huge threat to your team. But when she's out, the enemy team is going to be far less able to defend. So basically, you have your tracer scout, but that's one way you could look at it. People don't really understand, and that's how it's very easy to get full held, especially on scrims. On ladder, I guess you just have to brute force it with pure mechanical skill and just knowing when to put your foot in the door. But with scrims, it's very important that your team realizes that all you have to do is take one person out of the fight, because the really interesting way the map is designed, to the point where your team is able to flood in as soon as one person on the enemy team dies, just because it's one kind of circular square arena, and then there's a little bit of cover in the back, and there's high ground to your left. If they're able to hold that, then they're a good defensive team. But a lot of teams really have a kind of an Achilles heel situation where they have an Ana that's kind of just able to sit there and be able to be taken out by a lot of Pharahs and things like that. And until you get to that 4,500 level, a lot of people don't really realize the importance of playing kind of at a baity situation in Hanamura. But that first point, generally you just want a flanker, or you can get through and just try to remove someone from the fight with Roadhog. That's not the most important part. I think the most important part and interesting part of this map is the second point capture. Basically, commitment is the most important thing. Even in the first point, just committing to that play is the most important, because if you fall apart, if one person dies, it's very, very easy to get staggered, and that's why it's very easy to get full held. And that's why we full hold the enemy, because they just keep trying the same strategy and they don't really commit together ever. But second point is so important. The top right is the #1 way to attack, right? Look at it from this way. What is one of the most important concepts in Overwatch? That's high ground, right? You want to maintain high ground, or you want to take it away from the enemy. That's why D.Va's very good. But on this map, people don't realize that the actual fight is winning the high ground on the top right before you get onto the second point. Up there on that level, that's why people have Mei to deny the high ground. It's very, very difficult to get past that Mei. And a lot of time, you just can't commit with that Mei. But there's one thing you can do, one thing that you have to do if you want to win Hanamura, and that's commit to that fight. Right when everyone's there at the door, you want to have that Lucio speed boost. And even if you have a soldier that stays behind just a little bit too far, you get walled off, dies, your team won't be able to feed, or won't be able to succeed. But basically, if you have the Lucio speed boost, the whole team charges in. It's imperative that you knock them off of the high ground, and that you're able to really do that. And I don't know if the map design is really that amazing for Hanamura. It's kind of interesting how the developers kind of made Vizcaya. They have both sides of high ground. It's very attack sided and defensive side, whereas Hanamura is just, it's an interesting little battle that involves a lot of semantics, and a lot of the time you just don't really understand how you're gonna win that fight, and it comes down to blind luck, even in scrims. But that's just really what I wanted to talk about, how interesting it is that Blizzard kind of designed this almost inferior version of Oskaya, but commitment is only really prevalent at an extreme degree in this map, and I've just noticed it from looking at a bunch of different YouTubers make a lot of guides, and the number one key thing that's so imperative, just that one point, because that's honestly the correct way to attack this map. I feel going through main is very easy to get sniped. Going through the left side with Mei wall, everyone crosses. That's actually very difficult too. You might want to have a flanker or something to distraction, but going through that top right is the correct way to do it. And if a team knows how to commit, that's definitely the best way to do it. But those are just my thoughts for Hanamura, and for Fairweather. I'll be making more videos every single day. If anyone has suggestions, things like that, please tell them to me. Thank you for watching. It's been Strug.